Welcome back, everybody. We are here back in action with the 1987 Super Mod. This is my save, the AWA save. We've been working event by event, doing our tour, and we're coming right back at you here with the number 66 event. So we are in Saturday, the 4th week of July, and as we take a look at our spreadsheet, we can see that we're back in Minneapolis. This is an exciting full 8-match card. It is a very good card. One thing that sticks out to us right away, we learned last episode that Mr. Saito suffered an injury while in New Japan, so we'll have to find Bob Backlund a different opponent. We'll address that once we get to it and go from there. So let's take a look around the game world, see if there's anything exciting that catches our eye, and then we'll get right back into our event. Let's check out what's going on in New Japan. New Japan had a pretty solid card here. Wow, what a number here with the 87. Fujinami was really something else, especially in 87. What's going on in All Japan here? Ooh, Choshu versus Hansen. A 99. Wow. Baba and Destroyer once again defending the title. That's the PWF World Tag Team Championship, which would eventually be merged with the NWA International Tag Team Championship title to create the Unified World Tag Team title in All Japan. Once All Japan left the NWA in 1988, and actually it's in this game. I put the date in there, and so it'll pop up. So if you're playing as All Japan, you'll know the date to go ahead and secede from the NWA and then create the proper titles. Take a quick look at World Class here, see what's going on. Jeep Swenson versus Abdul the Butcher. Oof. Oh, that would be an awful match. Bruiser Brody versus T. John Thibodeau. That would be an awful match. Thibodeau was about as agile as a kitchen table. They actually have a tag team called the World Beaters. I don't even want to know. All right, we're closing out of that weirdness, and we're going to go ahead and get right back to it. So let's go ahead and press ahead and see where we're going and what we're going to do on this card. There's a Destroyer right there. Once again, he was not in the original Gennady version. I put him in because he did have a comeback during this time period with All Japan. We are back in Minneapolis. So let's do what we can to see if we can secure a Minneapolis arena. No, it's not looking good, so let's drop it down to 5,000. There's the Minnesota Sports Pavilion. Boy, we're giving up about 3,000 seats, but that's okay. We're shooting for realism, so we're going to run in Minneapolis, and we're going to go ahead and eat about 3,000 fans there. Okay, let's take a look and see if there's any incidents. Oh boy, it's Jerry Sags. Okay, good. Good, it's just a little issue, nothing big. There's Von Raschke with Collins again, his protege. Stevens with his protege. Stevens with Becker, another protege. And Stevens with Washington. So nothing serious, everything's looking good. So that's positive. Absent workers, Candy Divine. Nothing that should affect us here outside of Mr. Saito. So we'll make a decision when it comes to the Backlund match who we're going to go ahead and put in place. So let's get busy booking here. Reggie Bennett versus Wendy Richter is going to be our first match. It's a ladies match. It's only a 10-minute. For those of you that are fans from the 80s, you remember Wendy Richter was the WWF Women's Champion. She was a talent. She was very good. Reggie Bennett was no pushover either, though. She was a good female wrestler for that time period. So we're gonna put Wendy Richter over. She's a good baby face, and I'm considering her to take the title from Sherry Martel when the time is ready. Got Pat Tanaka versus Sonny Rogers. For those of you that don't know, Sonny Rogers was a product of the AWA, and he went on to become a really good trainer on the independent circuit. He spent time with Windy City and then ventured out onto his own. I think he's still involved with wrestling to this day. I met him a few times. He was a very nice guy and very knowledgeable when it came to wrestling. So Tanaka versus Rogers. Pat Tanaka, I think, has lost every match so far, touring to Sonny Rogers. So we're going to go ahead and give him a win over Sonny Rogers here, and he's going to cheat to do it. There we go. No complaint from Rogers. I didn't think we would. Okay, we got a ladies tag team match, and Candy Divine, like we saw, is out. So we have to replace her to tag her up with her tag team partner, which was Penny Walker. I'm sorry, Penny Mitchell. So let's take a look at our roster. We have a problem here where we're not seeing the end of our sheet here on full screen. I don't quite understand why I've never had this problem before. Let's see if we close this off. I'm not sure what the issue is. I've never had this happen before. Okay, there we go. So singles, Lady Heel. Let's put Medusa in place of Divine. That'll work. Here we go. Our screen's back now. Medusa Michelli. Very good women's wrestler. Very talented. And then they are working Vivian St. John and Jamie West. I know it seems like a lot, especially in 1987, that there would be two women's matches on one card. It might be stretching realism a bit, but we're really trying to get these women some work so they can improve. This is a 12-minute bout, and I don't care who wins. We're going to leave it open. I have a feeling you're going to see Michelli and Mitchell take the win. All right, right back to our tour here. Alan West versus Cactus Jack. I think we're up to 14 here. Alan West was another guy that had a really good look. He was in very good shape. He was a decent wrestler. Spent a lot of time in the AWA and then again in Memphis. I think he was even around for the USWA days. Had a pretty decent career. And of course, we know who Cactus Jack became. So this is another one. I don't care who wins. We're going to leave it open-ended. And let's double check here on the tour to make sure that was 14. It was. Okay, this next one's Nick Kanichi and Johnny Rich. Nick Kanichi was a second-generation guy, as we know, and they're going to face the Texas Hangman, who were a pretty good tag team. Johnny Rich is the cousin of Tommy Rich. He went by several different names in his little run in the AWA through the partnership with the CWA. He went by Johnny Rich. So we have Killer and Psycho, who were the Texas Hangmen. And this version of the Texas Hangman, it would change down the road, but this version is Bull Payne and Mike Moran. Later on, and by later on I mean 90s, mid-90s, Tom Benninghouse would replace Mike Moran. And then, of course, Benninghouse and Mike Moran would end up in WCW in the late 90s as Disorderly Conduct, as Mean Mike and Tough Tom. A little bit of history for you. Kanichi and Rich versus the Texas Hangman. We're going to leave that one open-ended. Let the computer decide who's going to win. Let's take a look at our next match. Olsonowski versus Rip Oliver. We've talked about Olsonowski before. He was a mainstay in the AWA. He was a solid hand. He was a solid worker, but nothing that blew you out of the water. Rip Oliver was a journeyman, was in several different territories. He was good. But again, he was really nothing special that blew you away or anything like that. Looks like Rip Oliver's been on a winning streak and Olsonowski has not. Let's make sure that Steve-O gets the win on this one just to help him out. Let's take a look back at the tour. Okay, Saito is out, so we have Backlund. Who can we put in there with Bob Backlund to give him a good match? I'm thinking Bobby Duncum, but we need to build up Bobby Duncum for a while here. Backlund's been winning on TV for a couple months, so he's already built up. Bobby Duncum isn't. He's a newcomer. So I think we would actually hurt him if we brought in Bobby Duncum for this bout. But what if we used Billy Robinson against Bob Backlund? Yes, they're both baby faces, but we could have them put on a great technical match, and it really wouldn't matter. This is going to make for a good bout, I think, especially in Minneapolis. Robinson versus Backlund. And we're going to make sure to make this a technical masterclass. And again, it doesn't matter to me who wins. This is just going to be a good match, especially in Minneapolis. So our main event here is going to be Hennig and Hall versus Bockwinkel and Zbyszko. The last block of this tour, we featured the main events of Hennig versus Bockwinkel. So this is something just to change it up and then to prolong again the ongoing feud between Hennig and Bockwinkel. This is something Vern Gagne would have done. Now, we signed Scott Hall about a month ago and brought him back on an exclusive written contract. For those of you that don't know, Curt Hennig and Scott Hall were tag team partners in the AWA in '86. They held the tag title for about 5 or 6 months. They were a really good team. They had good chemistry. They worked well together. Scott Hall was still developing his character at that point. This is where he had the big mustache, the cowboy boots, that type of look. He left the AWA and went to Florida, where he wrestled for the CWF. And then he was developing his character. He was already pretty decent on the microphone here. So Larry Zbyszko, as we know, was an absolute gem. He was in the Northeast with the WWF, where he was Bruno Sammartino's protege for many years before he turned heel on him. Zbyszko was just solid. Great on the mic, good in the ring. So this is going to be a good match. We're going to go ahead and make this an epic. We're going to take this one the full 25. And in this case, since we are in Minneapolis, I want Nick Bockwinkel to win, but by count out. That'll keep the heat with the fans for the return visit. So we're just about at 137 minutes. This is a pretty standard AWA card. This is a good, solid card, especially for Minneapolis. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Reggie Bennett loses to Wendy Richter just like we planned. They got good chemistry. That's good to know. Tanaka versus Rogers. 28. Both men are still in the 30s. That's okay. Their popularity is going to continue to grow. All right, here's that ladies tag match we talked about. Just as I predicted, Medusa Mucelli got the victory with a German suplex. Good. She's a good hand. This is a good match for her. So help the popularity. West versus Cactus Jack. Alan West defeats Cactus Jack. Good. Match like this will only help both men. Here's Kanichi and Rich taking on the Texas Hangman. Looks like Kanichi got the win with his patented backbreaker. Nick Kanichi, along with his brother Kelly Kanichi, as we mentioned before, they were the sons of former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Gene Kanichi. They were good wrestlers, and they were in good shape. Both of them were outstanding amateur wrestlers, and they were good, solid pro wrestlers. They just had really lousy charisma and couldn't really catch on anywhere. Nick Kanichi would eventually stick with the AWA, and later in 1988 he would turn heel and then form a tag team with Kevin Kelly. They weren't bad, but they weren't anything special. And of course, we talked about Johnny Rich before. As far as the Texas Hangmen go, Moran and Bull Payne would partner up until the early 90s. They would also wrestle without the hoods under their real names, and eventually Bull Payne would move on to do matches in WWC in Puerto Rico. He'd have he traveled all over, and then Moran, who was just a really good tag team partner to many people, would end up partnering up with Benninghouse under the hoods as the Texas Hangmen. And then, like I said before, they ended up in WCW for a long run. So that was a decent bout. Steve Olsonowski ends up beating Rip Oliver. Match gets a 58. This is the one I was looking forward to see right there. Bam! Robinson versus Backlund scores a 90. This is a good match, especially in Minneapolis. So Backlund loses to Robinson, but no big deal. That wouldn't hurt either man. So I'm sure something like that would have been quite the sight to see in real life. So here's the main event. Scores a 92. Good. That's an excellent score. Excellent match. Our storyline continues. Gains some heat here. Good. This is a good match that closes out a solid card. Let's see who was the agent on this one. Greg Gagne. Good. Yeah, this is a good match. This is a really good match. So good match, solid card. Let's finish it up. Normally I don't do the speech stuff, but what the heck? Let's do it for some fun. Let's tell Nick Bockwinkel how good of a job he did. Let's praise him for a good performance. Medusa, she filled in for us, helped us out. Compliment a good performance. And then who else should we look at here? Who else did a good job? Let's go with Bobby Backlund. Took the fall. Did a good job for us. Let's point him out as a good example. So we're going to make the speech. Bockwinkel's happy. Michelli's happy. Backlund's happy. Good. All right, that concludes tour number 66. They're going to take us back to the main menu here. And let's see if we got anything fun and exciting here in the main menu. See if anything wild happened in any other promotions. Ooh, we got a message here, so something's going on. Jim Evans left the AWA. Who was Jim Evans? Oh, Jim Evans was a enhancement talent we used. So, because we're in a feud with the WWF, they must have told him to leave. Imagine that. And I just accidentally deleted our viewership from one of our television shows. So right away here, we're going to go into our spreadsheet. We're going to find Jim Evans. and we're going to delete him out of there, if I haven't done so already. He may have announced this before. Oh, there he is. So we're going to take Jim Evans out of there. He no longer wants to wrestle for us. That's fine. We can find plenty of enhancement talent. Change it up. We can find somebody else to replace him easily. So right back to the tour. We know our next tour is going to be number 67 here. We'll go ahead and get that updated. Okay. So before we close out here, let's take a look and see what's going on in the world of wrestling. See if anything fun happened. Doesn't look like it. Looks like a pretty normal day. Let's see what Saturday night's main event had. Piper versus Harley Race. Okay. Another 6-man. Ken Patera. Ken Patera is eventually going to leave the WWF here in 1988. He does come back to the AWA. So we're going to make that happen when that indeed does happen. See what they got on Prism. Hulk Hogan and Ricky Steamboat versus Orton and DiBiase. Nice match. Really nice match. The new Dream Team's getting some work here. What else do we got here? Let's see what happened on WCW. What the hell? Why would they hold a card like this? That's your premier TV show? Your main event is Fernandez versus Patterson? That's horrible. Or Brad Armstrong and a jobber? This is not good. Not good at all. It's pretty disappointing, actually. Why does the computer come up with crap like that? CWA, let's see what's going on. Lawler. Okay. Nice. Wonder how everybody else is doing on money. Let's take a look. How's the CWA doing? Wow, CWA's making money. They're doing real good. Continental is not doing well. CWF is not doing well, even though they're owned by Crockett. How's Deep South doing? Deep South's holding their own. Good for them. Wild West, not doing well at all. UWF, not doing well. Wow. All right, folks. Well, that's where we stand for this episode. That was another successful show, a really successful show. And next time, we are going to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we're moving over to the Great Lakes region. So we'll see what we can do there. This should be another really good card with the Midnight Express and the Midnight Rockers on top. Who knows? There might be a title change. We'll have to see here. It's about that time. We could do it. All right, take care, folks. And if you haven't already, please like this episode and please subscribe. That's going to help this program a lot and keep us going strong. So please, if you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe. Take care.